Keeping it real this weekend. Yes, I'm wearing an apron. I'm in the middle of putting up a lot of tomatoes and I just didn't feel like taking everything off and cleaning up. So I'm filming in between yapping dog sprees, so forgive me for that. This is gonna be a short wrap up because I was looking at my list and realized that almost everything I read this past week were short fiction magazine issues, and I don't talk about those in weekly wrap ups. I will do something at the end of the month where I talk about the highlights of what I read, because I'm gonna read a lot of short stories this month, like a lot if I keep this up. The other things I read this past week, I read The Man in the Tree by Sage Walker, which I will be doing a review on this week, so I won't talk about it too much here. And the other two things that I read should be brief. One of them was Volume 7 of Ms. Marvel. I forget the title of this one, but it's written by Willow Wilson. This was kind of an iffy issue for me. The first issue in it is Kamala Khan tackling gerrymandering, which felt like somebody decided to make a PSA out of a Ms. Marvel issue and be like, go out and vote. I assume this was timed with something with the elections at the end of last year or something. It was very obvious and on the nose, and it felt like an ad, and I didn't like that. The other issues where Kamala Khan tackles an internet troll evolved out of a virus, and that was also okay. I'm far more interested in what's going on with Bruno, her friend, who they've been estranged for a while since the events of the previous issue. He's now off in Wakanda, and I assume his story is crossing over with Black Panther stuff, which I don't know anything about. So overall, this volume was alright, but not the best I've read so far. The other thing that I read was The Elegance of the Hedgehog by Muriel Barbery. This is translated from French. I do not remember the translator's name, but I will put it down below. This was a complete surprise. For years, I have been under the mistaken impression that this book was a modern classic. It's not. I believe it was originally published in French in 2006 and translated and published in English in 2008, so it's new, but for some reason I thought it was much older. It's really a contemporary novel, and it takes place in like a swanky French condo building. The main character is the middle-aged widowed concierge named Renee, and the other primary character is Paloma, a 12-year-old girl who lives in the building. Renee and Paloma both are incredibly intelligent and well-read, and they're both trying to hide it. Renee does a good job at pretending to be this boring, ill-educated, uncultured curmudgeon, upholding all the stereotypes of being a concierge, and Paloma is writing a diary where she is putting down all of her deep thoughts and planning to kill herself on her next birthday because life just isn't worth living at this point. And eventually they will meet someone who perceives them for what they are and sees what they're trying to hide, and that is really touching and uplifting. And I enjoyed it so much once I got past the first couple of chapters with Renee, because I could not figure out at first why she wanted to seem so mean and boring. And then I realized that I am the complete opposite of Renee, and I live in a very different culture. I assume this has something to do with the vestiges of the caste system, basically, because this is in France and I'm American, and we have strata in our society too, but Renee was born into a very, very poor family, and due to an event when she was young, she believes that if she tries to live above her natural station in life, she will be punished for it. And yeah, that's the opposite of how I think. I firmly believe in expressing all aspects of yourself and embracing it, and I'm not afraid to show myself. I'm not afraid that I'm ever gonna get punched down on for that. But Renee thinks very differently. So once I got past that and I understood where she was coming from and actually how sad her life was up to that point rather than her just being mean, I really liked the book. The one thing I'm going to quibble about is the end, because I feel like the end essentially reinforced Renee's fear, and that just seemed wrong to me. And that is it. Possibly shortest wrap up ever. We'll find out when I edit this. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you're having a great weekend, and I'll be back to talk to you again soon. And until then, bye.